On today's Church TechCast Q&A, social media communities, web hosting, and mp3 recording. The Church TechCast Q&A show is generously supported by viewers like you. Thanks for helping make this a possibility. Head over to patreon.com/PaulAllenCliff. That's patreon.com/PaulAllenCliff to help support the show for as little as $1 a month. Every bit helps. Hi everyone, and welcome again to the Church TechCast Q&A show. My name is Paul Allen Clifford, and I'd love to answer your questions. So if you're watching live, no biggie, just hop into the chat room and you can ask your questions there. If you're not watching live, though, as many of you aren't, no big deal either. You can ask questions in the comments section of this video below, or you can reach me a couple other ways. You'll see in my lower third, it has the web address, trinitydigitalmedia.com. If you add a /contact on the end of that, so trinitydigitalmedia.com/contact, then you can leave a message there in the comments section for that post, or you'll find that it has all my other contact information, like my email address, which is paul@trinitydigitalmedia.com. You can hit me up on Twitter, Paul Allen Cliff, PaulAllencliff. Remember, that's the shortest possible way to spell 3 names, and there's no E, if that helps. Also, if you're more of a telephone person, 1-877-POD-ECHO, 1-877-763-3246 will get you in touch with me as well. You can leave a voicemail for me, and I'll answer that on a future show. Actually, I'll answer it probably on next week's show if I can, which I am looking forward to doing. So here, let me get out of the way of this on my I have my questions up, so without further ado, let me just ask those questions. So Judith Go Lightly on Twitter asked me, this was actually broken up into 3 DMs, so it's going to seem longish for a tweet, and there's a reason why it was. So, hi, I'm following you, and I noticed that you have daily webcasts. Are they about social media? I'm leading a workshop in July on that subject. I'd be interested in getting your input on that. I'm attending a bereaved parents conference in July, and I've volunteered to lead this workshop. I hope to demonstrate how using social media can help people connect with others who have had similar experiences, for e.g., the loss of a child. Well, thanks for your question, Judith, and it sounds like you might actually have experienced this horrible thing, and so I'm sorry to hear that. It's horrid that anyone has to experience the loss of a child. Just horrible. So, with that said, I don't understand what it's like to be in that situation. And a lot of people don't, which is why it's great that we've got the internet these days. Because with the internet, you can get together groups of people from all over the world who have similar interests or similar experiences, and it's just very powerful. So let me give you an example. I'm going to share a little something about myself that a lot of people don't know. I am missing 11 teeth. Now, you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot. Well, 4 are wisdom teeth, so that doesn't bug me. My oldest daughter is also missing her wisdom teeth. Yes! So that's not a big deal. It's the other 7 that I miss. 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom. Throughout all my life, I thought that I was a genetic freak, the only one in the world who had this issue. But recently, as I was figuring out how to repair my partial, because things are a little tight here still. So I was trying to figure out how to do do-it-yourself repair. I came across a lot of people who are younger than me who are missing a lot of teeth, just like I am. And so I didn't feel like a genetic freak that there was no one else in the world like me. What I felt like was, oh, I'm not alone. And that's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to know that you're not one of a kind in a unusual or bad way. That you can be a part of a community with other people. And so that's very helpful. There's a marriage forum that I belong to that I read some of the other stuff that some of the other husbands are going through, and I think, oh, I'm not alone. This feels great. So I think that social media can be great for that. So I do have some advice. You can connect with each other on Twitter. What I would do is I would look for hashtags that would go with what you're doing and reach out to other people, follow people that are going through the same thing, etc. Facebook might be a little bit better for that, especially because loss of a child isn't necessarily something that you want to be private about. I mean, it's not like someone goes, huh, I haven't seen your child in a long time, and you don't tell them what has happened. It's pretty clear what's happened. And so I think that would be really good. The Google Plus, those two social networks have the particular distinction of requiring you to use your real name as you're engaging. So in this particular situation, I don't think that's a problem. Now, let's say instead you were going through infidelity, where your spouse had been unfaithful to you. Perhaps you wouldn't want to use Facebook or Google Plus. Perhaps you use something like Twitter or something that's more anonymous in nature. So that's something to consider as you're dealing with um, these issues and connecting with people. Now, there are a lot of people that say, oh, online community isn't real. I beg to differ. I think that it can be even more real than in-person community. Let's talk about AA, for example. So the second A in AA is anonymous. It's Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, the reason that it's anonymous, the reason that they talk about the founder of AA being Bill W., is people were embarrassed by their addiction. They didn't like their addiction. They wish they didn't have it. So still, you might bump into someone at an AA meeting that you knew from other places. An online discussion, you could potentially be even more real because even if you do bump into someone, they're probably under some pseudonym as well, so it doesn't matter as much. It's not like you're uh, gonna bump into someone online and they're gonna go, "Hey, you're Wildcat123. Yeah, we hang out. You're my next door neighbor." That's not going to happen. Even if you bump into uh, wish I didn't drink 4 or 5, 6, and it turns out that they do live next door to you, it's possible you would never find that out. So I think that there can be some real community created because of the anonymous nature of some of these groups. So I think that I would look for forums that deal with what you're dealing with. I think that I would look for Google Plus groups, Facebook groups that can connect, because boy, is it. I've never lost a child, but I can imagine that it would be very helpful in the early days to someone who lost a child 20 years previous, and to be able to connect with them in that way to say, hey, how does it feel now that it's been 20 years? And maybe you could draw some strength and hope from that, whereas it feels like you can't make it through the day. I know it's totally different, but when I lost my father, it was really hard to make it through the day the first short amount of time. But now that it's been 15 years, it's much easier. Not that I ever forget him, but that it's easier to get past hard times. So I can imagine that it would be particularly helpful. Okay, Pronounce, which is a company that makes announcement videos, actually. Uh, they asked on the Church Tech group on Google Plus, starting a new blog. Previous one was on Blogger. Current one is on WordPress. Is there anything better out there? What do you guys recommend? Um, on a couple of these questions, I've seen some recommendations of Squarespace. They seem to be really good. I like the level of control, though, that I have when I have rented server space and I install um, WordPress on it. Now, you said WordPress Pronounce, and there's a bit of a branding problem with WordPress, quite frankly. There's WordPress.com, which is a for-profit business that provides the hosting and a very limited install of the WordPress software. You might be okay with that. But since they're for-profit and it's a limited install, you just quite frankly don't have the control that I personally need. So what I need is I need the ability to install plugins, I need the ability to tweak how my site looks, and a few other things. So WordPress.com does not give that to you. If you go to WordPress.org, you can download the software that you then upload to your rented server space. Now, certain server companies, web servers, web hosts, they have ways of doing that more directly and more easily, so it's possible that you could do that. There are even services that, for free, if you sign up through their affiliate link, they will do all the installation. And heck, if you want me to do that, send me a line, Paul at trinitydigitalmedia.com. If you sign up for web hosting through my web host, which is WestHost, the reason that I use them is because they had such good customer service. So if you sign up through them, I'll get a commission and I'll set up your blog for you. So, and that's free if you use their service because I get paid by their commission. So if you're interested in that, just thought I'd let you know. Along the same lines, Mandy Caruso Yanni said, just found you guys and need some advice on a website host. We're a United Methodist Church currently using Ezekiel through UMC Communications. We're feeling somewhat limited on what we can do with the current pricing plan. We're the current pricing plan we're on, but aren't sure if it's worth it to upgrade or just find somewhere else altogether. Anyone have a favorite easy to use and affordable platform they recommend? Absolutely. For churches, I would start out across the board. I would start out on DreamHost. DreamHost provides free hosting for 501c3 uh, companies or corporations. So nonprofits, like, say, churches. Yes, like churches. So a church can get hosting. It's shared hosting, so it's not the best stuff, but for most churches, it's perfectly adequate. Then I would install WordPress on it as above, and then have a theme created, or you can buy a theme that's specifically targeted towards the church market. You could even buy a theme and then have a developer tweak it. I've actually done some of that work myself, so that works perfectly fine. Okay, next on the Church Tech Leaders group, um, so Ethan Bowles asks, "Hi all, so I had a rather lengthy conversation tonight after band practice about two schools of thought with slide breaks. First, but first let me give you some backstory so you know where I'm at now. We are about 3 months from being in our new gymatorium, and our whole church is very excited about it. We just brought on a band member who hasn't finished college yet as an intern to help the worship leader out. He is also our high school director and just had too much on his plate with both ministries and a newborn. Yeah, I can imagine. So one of the responsibilities that was given the intern was to do the ProPresenter slides. Poor choice of words at the time, because all the worship leader did was make sure the words were in order, and I handled making the slides look good, i.e. breaks, backgrounds, etc. So the intern did his thing for about a month or two of ordering, and he tried to do some background choices, which I changed sometimes and sometimes I did. Well, one week he did his thing, and as I was looking over it, I noticed it was considerably more chopped up than normal. One or two lines a slide for most songs. So I changed it after practice, and come Sunday, when he saw the changes, he asked me if I had changed them, etc. So we talked about uh, the disagreement of thought the week after that Sunday. He explained to me that this is what we are going to do. So we talked about it for 10 minutes, and I tried to explain that this was not a good idea. In the end, I didn't think to question his authority, which should have ended it if I did, but I didn't. I'm full-time staff who was just hired just out of college, so we were very close in age, but fairly far in title. Anywho, we left that conversation that he would not use one-line breaks, but that it would be done his way. For just some context as to our gear, our projectors are shooting in 4:3 at 800 by 600 resolution due to the terrible switcher matrix. Looking forward to our new gear. So screen size is a big consideration. Also, our congregation is more wise, quote unquote, than youthful. Wow, this is a long question. 2 more paragraphs. So this past Sunday we got our first complaint, and it was sent in an email to me and the worship leader. So I went to talk to him about it, and he agreed to sit in on the conversation with me and the intern. So us three talked it out tonight for a good 15 minutes. At the end of it, the worship leader just wants us to prepare songs next week in our style, and we will talk about it then. For ultimately, he is giving me the right to choose how we break the slides. I'm making such a big deal about this because I don't feel the band really trusts me. show them I really do know and love AV. So with all this said, any suggestions as to what may help the situation further? I would appreciate seeing your ProPresenter files when you are done with them this Sunday, if you could post them, or just a few songs that you just worked on. Thanks in advance for any advice files. Okay, so first off, you need to clearly decide what's going on. If you're the AV leader and on the org chart you're higher up than this intern, the intern can provide input, but it's not his call. Now, if the senior pastor says, no, this is the intern's job, why are you messing with it? That's something different. But you need to find out which is true. It sounds like you're assuming I'm AV, so everything that goes on the screen is my responsibility, so I'm going to do it the right way. And it sounds like he's assuming I'm the intern and my responsibility is to create these songs the right way, so that's what I'm going to do. And that's why you're at loggerheads here. That's why there's so much tension, is you both think the other person is doing your job. So you need some clarity there. Secondly, I think that here's we do 1 to 2 lines on our slides. I think that's on the low end. You could absolutely do them one word at a time technically. I wouldn't. I think 1 line is a little short, 2 lines isn't bad, 3 to 4 lines is okay, depending on the flow of the song. More than 4 is bad. I think the eye just gets lost. So, but I don't think that that's your issue. I really think the issue is you need to be as clear as possible about what the job is. So if it's the case that everyone but the intern believes that his job is the order of verse, chorus, etc., then that needs to be clearly communicated. If you're out of the loop and everyone else believes that the intern needs to do everything and you just need to present it, that needs to be clearly communicated. It's easier to deal with it if everyone's on the same page. So I think that what you're really asking is a leadership question, not a ProPresenter question. Next, speaking of leadership questions, Ben Salzman, again on Church Tech Leaders, is asking, hello, looking for suggestions out there. We have a few Bible study leaders that like to put their sessions online for people who can't make their midweek studies. So I've been trying to find a good solution, but have been having horrible success rates. I feel like I've tried quite a few methods ranging from a Zoom H2 and wireless packs capturing just room sound, and just recently I've tried simplifying it by running a Zoom H1 with the lapel mic plugged directly into it. For some reason, the recordings I get back seem to have a 50-50 chance of being corrupt, like a microphone wasn't plugged in all the way. The leader never actually started the recording, wireless packs didn't get turned on, or buttons were accidentally pressed. I don't know how I could simplify any further, but what do you guys think? Anyone out there have a similar situation to mine? I just need something that is so easy to use that just about anyone can take the equipment and run with it and feel comfortable operating it. It doesn't have to be perfect. These are just podcasts that go online for people who miss the sessions. Thoughts? Thanks in advance. Okay. This is, again, a leadership situation. It's not the case that having it so simple a monkey could do it is going to help if the person forgets to turn it on. If it's a complex 20-step procedure and the person follows the checklist in order every time, that's going to work. If it's a simple process where they have to press a button and they just forget to press the button, it's not going to work every time. So I think first thing, microphone not being plugged in all the way, you need to make sure it's impossible for the microphone not to be plugged in all the way. So gaff tape that bad boy in there, maybe a rubber band, everything you can do to make it as simple as possible. I saw on Lifehacker, they had an idea of, for remote controls, putting a piece of paper over the remote control and cutting out slots for just the buttons to press so that, like, the babysitter could turn on the television. So, if you have to use a television remote to turn on the television, cover up every button but the power button and say TV power only on the piece of paper with a hole for the button so that they don't get confused by all the other stuff. So you could do something like that. You need to make it as simple as possible. But the second thing is, I don't think that you should have the class leader be the only person responsible for making this happen. I think they should be responsible, but I think you should also have someone else there who it's their job to start it or make sure that it starts. Maybe it's someone in the class that just, it's their job to remind the person. They don't even have to be technical, right? Ideally, it would be a tech person. Ideally, the right way to do this is you have a tech person who is, it's their job to show up before the class starts, make sure the equipment works, test it, put it on the person, and monitor it the entire time. That's the ideal way to do that. If you don't have the personnel to do that, if you can't find someone who's willing to volunteer, etc., then what I would do is I would recruit someone in the class to make sure that it's their job to say before the class starts, "Hey, brother so-and-so, did you start the recording?" Or something like that. So they are the reminder person. So have a backup. For everything, have a backup. Maybe you also have two methods of recording. So there is a room recording and there is an on-person recording. So if one recording doesn't work, the other one will. So that's going to help you with your success rate as well. So I think those are the ways that I would make this work. So this comes down to one of my core values, which is I can't make people do things, but if I'm involved, I can always ask, given the exact same circumstances, how could I have made it work better? So think to yourself, I can't make them change, but how, given these exact same circumstances, can I make it better? If I have two recording setups, one that is not on their person and one that is, maybe the one that's not on their person is kind of a backup. It's not as good a quality, but it works. And Sally Jones comes in to class and it's her job to make sure that the one that's not on the person is recording, and you teach her how to press that one button, and then also it's her job to make sure that to ask the leader to start the recording. And it's not, don't forget to start the recording, it's, have you started the recording? I think once you do that, that will be very helpful to you, and you'll get a so I hope that helps you. I hope that it helps everyone as we're dealing with these church tech issues, because all we really want to do is we want to help people. We want to impact lives, and we want to go out and change eternity. So until next time, I'm Paul Allen Clifford with TrinityDigitalMedia.com.